We are here today with Andrew Pascal, who is the founder and CEO of Playstudios, which is an innovative and highly successful social gaming publisher and games company that is about to go public soon through a SPAC, AC's acquisition, that is headed up by Jim Murren, the former CEO of MGM Resorts. And Andrew, first of all, thanks very much for taking your time with us today.
It's my pleasure, Frank. It's nice to join you.
Andrew, you've had a long history in the gaming industry. You were a key executive at Wynn Resorts for a number of years, and you've been the CEO and principal at Playstudios now for a decade, really. But maybe we can start off by telling folks who aren't familiar with you a little bit about yourself, and then an overview of Playstudios, including your unique differentiated business model.
Sure. Well, you gave a couple of the highlights. So I think what I should share is that I've got a 30-year career in the gaming industry, both as a technology and content provider to it, as well as a developer and operator of these big integrated resorts. And so it's given me a really interesting perspective as I've kind of bounced back and forth from founding and starting these technology-based gaming startups to running these big integrated resorts. And I always found that there was a lot to draw upon as far as my experience in one industry and kind of moving over into another. And really, where Playstudios lives, the intersection of those two industries. What I've recognized, obviously being an operator of big integrated resorts, are some of the challenges that you have in optimizing their performance and the overall composition and mix of business, and particularly for resorts that have literally thousands of rooms and an enormous amount of capacity. You're constantly faced with how best to optimize it, and certainly to make sure that all your inventory and the capacity is, fully consumed. And so I saw a really interesting opportunity, and it was largely prompted also by some of my co-founders who saw the emergence of mobile gaming and free-to-play social gaming on the web, on platforms like Facebook, as just an enormous new channel of distribution and a way of accessing consumers at scale that was really hard to imagine. And that one of the key things that people were doing on both Facebook and on their mobile phones was engaging in playing games, connecting with one another, and spending a meaningful amount of time enjoying these really fun free-to-play game experiences. And so we had this idea, which was to effectively extend the experience of Las Vegas onto Facebook and onto these mobile devices by letting people engage and play for free, but as they play, allow them to accumulate another currency, a loyalty point currency, if you will, that they can then redeem for real-world rewards. And so the idea was that we would enrich the game proposition by offering up real-world value, and then we would help to drive the performance of the businesses for our partners by qualifying our players and delivering to them these pre-qualified consumers that they could then continue to engage and market to for their business. So that was the genesis of what is Playstudios. And so, as you alluded to, we started the company nearly 10 years ago with that basic idea. Today, we're a portfolio of 5 different apps, all of which are published on top of this really unique Play Awards platform. And so across our entire suite of games, we offer that proposition of play for free and earn for real. And we're poised now to take the platform and all of the experience that we've cultivated and apply that to a bunch of other gaming genres. So it's an exciting time for the company as we're poised to really accelerate our growth going forward.
You've grown a company that is a fairly substantial company already. And as you said, you expand to accelerate that growth, and going public is part of what is going to help you with that expansion. Can you elaborate a little bit more on your growth strategies?
Sure. we've grown the business organically. Every product, we've assembled every team, we've built every product, we've invested and acquired every player that we have. And we've been able to demonstrate pretty consistent growth year over year for the better part of the last 8.5, 9 years since we transitioned into an operating stage. Over the course of developing our business, obviously, we've really refined our sensibilities around how to create great games, how to operate games as a service, how to develop franchise products that have these evergreen characteristics. And so we're now ready to apply all of that expertise and, of course, our platform and all of its tools and capabilities to these new genres. And we can do it by continuing to develop our own games, which we will, but we think there's an opportunity now for us to be a bit more acquisitive and find companies with existing portfolios of products and networks of players that we can then integrate into our overall model and framework. And so, as we talk about accelerating our growth, and I imagine we'll talk a bit about our going public here, inside of the next 6 to 8 weeks through a SPAC transaction, the whole idea is to take the currencies that will come from that transaction and apply them towards, acquiring and integrating these companies that will then allow us to scale at a much more rapid pace. So that's our intention.
One of the things we hear an awful lot about today is total addressable market. And we hear it very frequently in reference to sports betting and online gaming. And we see figures like, $24 billion within 5 years and that sort of thing. But the games business, the electronic games business, is actually much, much larger than that. You have in your investor presentation, for example, you show that the games market is larger than some conventional entertainment media that people are familiar with, such as movies and music and books. Can you talk a little bit about the size of the potential of this market?
Sure. So, the consumer gaming market overall is a $150 billion market and continuing to grow at a really healthy rate, 10% plus compounded annual growth rates. And that growth is being driven largely by mobile gaming, which is a subsegment of that gaming market, is approaching a $70 billion market. So it is a massive market. I mean, by comparison, the movie industry is just over 40 billion. The music industry is just over 20 billion. So we're talking about a market scale that is multiples of what movies and music are combined. So it's very dynamic. I'm sure it's no surprise that, just about everybody has multiple gaming apps on their phones and devices and is engaging in play on their desktops. And there's something really wonderful about, these new platforms and channels of distribution and the way that it's opened up and given access to game creators that they didn't have previously. The path to having a really great idea, assembling a team, building a game, and putting it out into the marketplace is far less complicated today and far more open than it ever has been. And I think as a result, it's attracted an enormous amount of really great and innovative ideas and new game concepts, and obviously driven as a result the overall growth and kind of the reception of those games by the market. So we love that it's as big as it is. You talked about, we focus, at least for the moment, on a particular genre within the broader scope of what is consumer gaming, and that's the free-to-play casino genre, not surprisingly, given my background. And so all of our games really appeal to people that enjoy those style and types of games. But as we look now to expand into adjacent genres, into more casual genres like puzzle games, whether they be of the match 3 variety or word puzzle games or card-based games like solitaire, and there's a bunch of other really interesting hybrid games, the market, our available market, will increase as we enter into these new categories.
One of the new categories that you've launched just this month, I believe, is one that maybe the average person might consider an old time kind of activity, and yet it's in our electronic world, it's become a growth area, and that is bingo. Can you
Yeah,
talk a little bit about that?
sure. Yeah, one of our franchise brands is called My Vegas. Our My Vegas slots products really was the first product we introduced. It incorporates all of the iconic brands that make up Las Vegas. So through our partnership with MGM Resorts, we feature the MGM Grand and Bellagio and the Mirage and Luxor and Excalibur and others. And then, of course, we offer up these really great game experiences. Well, we saw that there was an enormous opportunity in the bingo category, which we characterize as one of the casual game categories. It's a simple game that people understand. The method of play is widely understood and very popular. And we just felt like when you look at the state of the bingo apps that are offered today, that there was just a ton of room for innovation and creative execution. And of course, lending our whole value proposition of letting people play bingo for free. And as they do, actually earn real world stuff that they value. And so, as you highlight, we just launched My Vegas Bingo. We did that about a week and a half ago. So we're in the earliest stages of really exposing that product to the market and starting to scale it up and invite more people to play it. And every indication so far is that they're really enjoying and loving the game and all the things that we think are really unique and innovative about it.
Another kind of game that you mentioned as something that Playstudios will develop is RPG. What is RPG and what's its potential?
Yeah, sure. So, role-playing games are a style of game where, as a player, you have a collection of characters or heroes that engage in different activities during the overall cycle and narrative of the game experience. We have a game that we're developing in partnership with a talented group out of Texas called Boss Fight Entertainment. And it's effectively a game where you collect heroes and you compose teams of those heroes that you then put into battle against other players that have composed their own teams of heroes. And as you engage in battle, you progress throughout the cycle of the game. And as you win more of these battles and accumulate different currencies and unlock more heroes to expand your roster, you're also building out your own village that you can then use to harvest all kinds of different currencies and attributes that you can ascribe or assign to your heroes that make them more effective as they go into battle. And it's fascinating. And there's a flavor of these RPG games, which is called idle RPG, idle being that you don't necessarily have to control the characters and the heroes that are engaging in these battles. You can actually let them play on their own and have a more limited interaction where you invoke their superpowers at the right times, which makes the act of playing the game a lot more accessible and easier, but still offers all the excitement and thrill of progressing and completing different stages and advancing through the overall narrative of the game. The game will be called Kingdom Boss. And much like all of our games, I think that we found an opportunity within a category to elevate the creative execution and also then integrate our Play Awards proposition so that really for the first time, people that love and enjoy RPG games can now play ours and not only get this beautiful and really enriched and elevated experience, but they can amass loyalty benefits and go get some fun real world stuff. Right. So yeah, we're very excited. We fully expect that we'll be launching that product at some point later on this summer.
And how big globally is the RPG market, or how big might it become?
Well, the RPG category, and whether it's squad RPG or idle RPG, is we're focused on, is approximately a $6 billion market today. If you look at, the RPG category and all of the other strategy related types of verticals or categories, it's multiples of that. But, the principal focus for us in the qualified market for this product is somewhere between $5.5 and $6 billion.
One of the issues with a lot of the online gaming, and I'm most familiar with the more conventional real money type gaming, is the stickiness of the players and the cost of player acquisition.
Yeah.
You have a unique model, as you discussed earlier, in your rewards model. Tell us where Playstudios stands in terms of stickiness and cost of player acquisition.
Yeah. Look, it's very definitely one of the defining things about our company, and what makes it so unique and what makes our products so unique is that it embodies this proposition I keep alluding to, which is that people can play these games for free, and as they do, accumulate a loyalty currency they can redeem for real world stuff. I refer to real world stuff. I should probably mention that it's not just kind of commodity things. It's like really aspirational stuff, dream vacations and we have cruise partners and integrated resort partners and more traditional hotel partners and concert promoters and music festival operators and fandom event promoters. And so, we offer all kinds of leisure activities and related stuff in our benefits program. And the way that it's surfaced and offered up within the games is through a framework of a loyalty program. In our case, it's called My VIP. And so as people play My Vegas, they'll accumulate these My VIP points that they can then go and redeem for these real world benefits. So as you can imagine, as people not only engage with a game that they enjoy and they love, but start to become ever more aware of the fact that there's this rich collection of benefits that they can take advantage of, well, that drives a deeper level of engagement, longer term retention, and it affords us as a game maker more opportunities to engage that audience and monetize it. And so, we refer to it within the company as our loyalty lift, that when you look at the key measures of performance, whether it's early on as you're looking to acquire and retain players, or as you engage them and play and look to drive more time that they spend engaged with your products, and then ultimately your capacity to convert that audience and monetize them, we know that the deeper that our players engage with the loyalty program, the more aware they are of the richness and the value of its benefits. We see this lift in all of those key measures of performance. So, as you highlight, the core of the games business, what everybody is trying to achieve is acquire players, which is hard because, as I alluded to a moment ago, there's so many apps in the marketplace. So rising above the noise and really distinguishing yourself and amassing some audience and getting to scale is hard. So to have a unique proposition to help you do that, to have partners that allow you to leverage all of their touch points and with their consumers to promote our games and our services because it's to their benefit, that's really unique. And then, of course, the mechanics of the program itself, which drive that engagement and ultimate monetization that I alluded to. So it's a really unique model. We think that it absolutely can be now leveraged across lots of other categories of gaming. Surprisingly, even though we've been running the model for the better part of the past 9 years, we're the only company that really offers this full-featured loyalty program. And so our vision is to leverage it for our own benefit as we continue to expand our portfolio and add more games, but then ultimately make it available to other game makers as a third-party service. So it really is, you think about our company and its growth potential and the dimensions of growth that we can exploit, it really is pretty exciting. We're going to keep launching products of our own design and execution. We're going to go buy some companies and products that will then integrate into the platform and continue to demonstrate the value and the capacity for us leveraging our platform to lift their performance, and then ultimately open it up and make it available to as I said, a much broader market of game makers. So it's exciting.
We're accustomed to seeing some pretty wild valuations in the real money world on a lot of the online gaming companies,
Yeah.
stock selling for 30 times future revenues several years out, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You not only make money and you're profitable now and growing net profit, but your valuations tend to be lower than your casual game peers. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I mean, more specifically, we are, our valuations, as you highlight, are materially below where our peers trade. If you look at the price at which we're going to go public, which is at $10 a share, and how we're forecasted to perform over the course of the next 18 to 24 months, we're basically getting valued at 2.5 times 2022 revenues. And I know we talk about the scale and size of the games industry, but we're not a traditional game company. We truly are a business that has this really unique Play Awards platform, on top of which we publish these games. And as a result, drive real synergies and growth and sustain performance and growth. And we've done that all organically to this point. And so when you look at the underlying performance that's been forecasted and is articulated in the materials that we've shared publicly, none of that takes into account the M&A activity that we're going to be pursuing. That's just purely what we expect we can achieve through the continued organic growth of our business.
I might mention that you, of course, have an investor presentation on your website, which is playstudios.com, as well as your SEC filings.
That's correct.
We've covered a lot of territory, Andrew. Any final thoughts that investors should consider?
Well, I think I just touched upon the highlights. I think we have a really unique and differentiated model, a proven commercial model. We have a history of demonstrated growth. I think that when you look at both the expansion of our available market and our opportunities to employ or apply our model to other genres and with other companies that we're going to partner with or acquire, I think that the future is pretty bright. So I think there's a lot of really great information in the materials that are at our website and that we've revealed publicly or with our public filings. And so I hope people take the time and take an interest and ultimately, if not become shareholders, at least download our games and give them a try.
Andrew, it's a great overview. Thank you for your insights.
All right, Frank, thank you very much. I appreciate the time.